What is going on, true believers? Today we're going to talk about the path back to $1, and we're going to see if there's been any progress made in how we get there. And I'm going to break it down for you, and I'm going to give you kind of a reasonable estimate of what you can expect. We're going to adjust our expectation in this market and see. The last one that I gave you was 2027 as my landing spot, and I reduced that by about 10x. So really what I said was 2.7 cents originally, and now I've dropped it to 2.7 tenths of a cent because I just don't see the path forward. Well, now we're going to look at it and we're going to see whether or not that's changed, because fundamentally a lot of things are a bit different about Luna Classic right now, and we're going to poke and prod and see if we can figure out the path to $1. We're going to do it very, very quickly. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Let's get after it. Okay, before we get started, if you want to hear a grown man cry, I would recommend that there is a video that just came out from Grumpy Caddy Caddy Crypto that you should tune in. It's 18 minutes long, and if you're a fan, then he will talk about price action. He will talk about the on-chain signaling for USTC. He will talk about the Terraport finance hack and how he's not really a fan of Rex by Z. He will talk about how Vegas, he's not a fan of Vegas. He will talk about Jesus is Lord. At least we agree that we're not a fan of Jesus is Lord. He will talk about proposed vesting contracts, final on-chain signaling for the 1.86 billion USTC, and why he was right and everybody was wrong. I don't know. I at some point around 4 minutes, I kind of checked out and just skimmed through the rest of it. But anyway, if you want a good laugh, go check it out. Also, if you remember here, and this one, it takes months to build a platform, right? And what he does is try to take a shot at me because this platform is out here in the wild now, ready to go, already implemented, and now he has complained about this one being a knockoff of his platform. If they take the same amount of time to build, the fact that we weren't crying about it publicly and telling you about it publicly, that we were doing it in stealth mode, doesn't mean that he was first. Does everybody understand that? I hope that you understand that it would be reasonable for me to expect that you are savvy enough as a person who consumes information to understand the difference between when you did it in 3 hours, did it in 3 hours. And we've been doing this for months, okay? We just didn't talk about it because not everybody who's a programmer that's involved in this program here, not everybody there has a platform on YouTube or a platform on X in which they use to try to get you to engage with their stuff and buy into their stuff. So a lot of this stuff gets done privately. So, yeah. Anyway, if you want a good laugh, there you go. And also, Believe in Lunk, now at an all-time high. We just clicked that all-time high just a little while ago. So thank you so much for that. Also, we're in number 4 right now overall. And by the way, to be very, very clear about this, there's no big money to be made, in my opinion here. But if you do look right here and you're looking for some Lunk accumulation opportunity, investment opportunity, look, market cap's only 2,000, right? LLO is at 72.53, P's at 49.74. You guys do a little buy-in, pop this up here right there. Yeah, look, you're talking about 3 or 4 or 5x in Lunk that you could that you could flip if that were the case. And what we're just trying to do is to unbond some of these and get them out into the wild. Once they're out into the wild, that's a really cool, I think, proof of concept over here for these projects. So in the event that you are interested, you know how to do this. If you don't know how to do this, you go to terrapump.fun, you connect your wallet, then you go find Believe, BLEEVE, and then you just start buying something. Buy a bunch of it. You know what I mean? All you rich guys out there, buy a little bit. Let's see what happens. Let's take that to $1. You know what I mean? I don't even know. 33x. 33x would take it to $1. So there you go. There is a path forward for that. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Also, The Trobits people burned more lunk yesterday than they have ever burned so far. So thank you guys for continuing to get over here. Shiba Inu in the spotlight, more Terra Luna Classic videos and information are out here on this website now. Over 2 billion lunk USTC burned as Terra gets rid of the Luna Classic. So this is Terra, the Terraform Labs, and we just got that big burn from LFG. That was one step. Now there's another step that goes with this, and this is where you get excited. And this is where we start talking about, can we burn can we get to $1, right? Well, this is the Luna Classic that's available to burn right now, 302 million. That's not significant, okay? I want to be perfectly honest with you and perfectly upfront. If we burn 302 million, that's kind of a drop in the bucket. That's about 2 weeks worth of burn from Binance, which is not insignificant, but it's not going to, if it were 302 billion, then we'd be talking. So let's cross the Terraform Labs off of the docket here. They're not going to move the chart in really any way. But where it is going to move, right here, 359 million USTC are about to be burned. And why is that significant? Well, if you come over here and you look at what's left in this supply, then you're talking about a very big spike. It's just not quite 10%, but it would be about a 6%, 7% spike in price almost immediately, with you not buying or selling anything, because what would happen is the circulating supply would then be diminished greatly, and that diminishment of supply there would lead to at least an easy 10% increase in market cap. And if that happens to be a great exposure mechanism in trading, and it starts to pique people's curiosity and they get the idea that we're going to repeg to $1 or something like that, then you might see some capital flow in, and you might see a fulfilling of what I've told you guys for a while I think is going to happen here when we get kind of motivated and this market flips. Now remember, Donald Trump has kind of broken things a little bit in the market with the tariffs and the war that we're having here between all these nations on trade. So it's going to take just a tiny bit of time before we get broken out, I think. This is my opinion, by the way. Now, for full disclosure, the Trump administration has said that they are done with what they have done so far, and now they're waiting for the responses from other countries. This morning, China announced a 34% tariff on United States imported goods. Now, to be very, very clear, China already tariffs all imports from the United States, while the United States does not tariff China. So they're retaliating off of the retaliation of the United States that never retaliated before. So, what we're watching right now is a whole bunch of people that were stopping U.S. goods from coming into their markets, getting mad because they can't continue to dump their goods and services on the American market. So this plays out to the United States' advantage in the long term. That's going to be great for all of these indices markets. So back to what we were saying, I do suspect that we're going to see a big move here. Now, I can't say more than this right here because that's the resistance line, but that is more than a 2x away. So, once we get a nice little breakout, once we get a little skin in the game, a little money, a little motivation, a little retail returning, whatever you want to call it, right? Once we get that, then we're going to have a pretty big move, a pretty significant move, I want to say. What could ultimately happen though? What if we get a breakout to that 10-cent level where we were when we thought that money right there, that still exists in markets, okay? When we were doing this over here, this was July of 2022. Let me just give you kind of a breakdown. July of 2022, the overall market cap was $2 trillion in crypto. Okay, like we were not in a great place. The market cap in crypto right now is 2.6 trillion. So make no mistake about it. The money exists. What we need right now, law of attraction. We need to attract investors and consumers of our goods and services back into this space and into this market. So getting a breakout right there could lead to a massive recovery. And if we get the massive recovery, then you would see a spike like this, a little bit of rejection, most likely coming back down here, and then boom, you get the breakout, and then you get this move up here to about 6 cents. So what is on tap? Well, that right there represents about a 6x from where we are on just USTC. And what would happen if that were to be the case? Then you would see an enormous increase in interest and attention to Luna Classic. So I'm not dismissing USTC, and you guys know I do dismiss USTC quite a bit. But this time, I'm looking at it just a tiny bit differently. I think that there's something to this, and I think that there is a move that we could have coming up very, very, very soon that might just cause a little bit of a breakout. And again, I'm giving you this as an idea. Now, the question that I asked was, what is the path to $1 looking like? Well, 979 million is what we've burned over the last 7 days, which is that big Binance burn. Then we had that big Terraform Labs burn. Now we have to back off and let's say, what else do we have? Well, we used to have these big wallets from Terraform Labs that we were worried that, one day they were going to burn, et cetera, et cetera. And then when they burn, oh my God, it's going to be great. Well, the market started dipping and the market never really recovered. Now, Bitcoin clearly recovered, but the rest of the market, altcoins, are generally speaking still kind of eating it. The market is still kind of pricing in whatever they price in. I don't want to speak for these markets in that context, but they're pricing stuff in. Luna Classic is not priced in a lot of different ways to the extent that we wanted to see. And I maybe that doesn't make sense to you, but what I think is, again, this is the law of attraction. If we build it, if we create some situation, then it will happen. But the point is 979 million, that burn, that's not going to burn. Now, again, adding on 358 million or 302 million more as a burn, I would kick that up to 1.3 billion. That's still not even enough for a week. So this is not going to help the burn process. This right here is what's going to create an attraction, okay? In my opinion, there's 3 things right now that we can talk about. That is this right here, establishing on-chain liquidity for USDC, which I think is very important. And the reason that it's important is because USDC is created by Circle. Circle is a United States company. This would be, I want to say, safe stablecoin because it's Circle and because the biggest investor in Circle right now is Coinbase. And Coinbase has a free and clear path forward to really kind of take control of this market in the United States. They are the #1 exchange in the United States. Crypto.com #2, Kraken #3, but they have an opportunity to increase their lead, if you will, kind of in a Binance way, that the way that Binance captured a huge portion of the market. So that opportunity exists for Coinbase right now. And the fact that USDC is on Luna Classic is an important commodity here, and Juris Protocol probably take advantage of that. And remember, especially with USDC, if you're able to move your crypto into USDC, then it's going to be an easier way to get it onto centralized exchange. And that's the important part. So hopefully all of this stuff happens, and that's going to create more attention. Now, after we've created the attention, where do we get the rest of the money from? Or to pump the market? Well, let me go back here. It already exists. Again, when you come over here and you just imagine this big pump again, September of 2022, we were at a 2 trillion market cap. So the capital exists in this market. It is a matter of attention in the market. So we have to talk about how we're going to capture attention. Well, we've got TerraPump.fun, which is going to be fun. We've got LunkPump.fun, which is the one that's coming out from Happy Caddy Crypto, which, you know what? In fact, it might be bigger. I don't know. And to be fair, like I would like to say that our platform is going to be the more popular one, but I don't care. If Happy Caddy Crypto creates something that works even better, I'm all aboard. I'm there for it. I'll be the first person to make a meme coin over there that I'll never sell again too. You know what I mean? So I don't have a problem with that. I think that's actually good for the ecosystem. Competition breeds attention. And if we all start fighting amongst ourselves, that actually kind of works to our advantage, because once people start covering it and saying, oh my God, there's LunkPump.funds coming over there, it could be something incredible. And As attention to crypto continues to increase, guess what? Attention to the ecosystem would too. So now the path forward for the price action. Well, I just want to say this. If I look at this and I have any kind of inkling, I don't think there's fundamentally any change right now. So I'm going to stick right now with this prediction over here. And the reason that I'm going to do this is because I don't think anything has fundamentally changed about the maximum breakout potential for this market right now. That maximum breakout potential is that 4236 right there on Fibonacci. This is the low, this is the high, this is the range. So I'm going to stick with that range. I don't see a path forward for anything more than that. And in fact, I'm not reducing my estimate here, but let's just consider this, the golden ratio. That's the one in the bull run that matters quite a bit and that cryptos tend to migrate to. So if we were to consider that, then we have to say, from right here, that's a 24x. That's not even a 40x from where we are. And by the way, at this point, it is 48x. So it's about 50x from where we are right now. So we're going to need a little help to get into this sort of realm. Is a dollar possible? Look, my honest opinion is there's in this cycle, for sure, no path forward. The only way to make that happen is going to be this, a dramatic reduction in the overall supply of Terra Luna Classic in the right here. And guess what? As we're sitting here looking at this, we got 5.44 trillion Terra Luna Classic. We're only going to burn, 320 million off of that. So now is the time for somebody to come up with a radical idea that people can get behind to find a way to burn Terra Luna Classic. Now, it is my recommendation that anybody who's working on that, anybody who's focused on that, we find a way to burn Terra Luna Classic post-transaction. And we do have that capability with one of the proposals and one of the upgrades that we just did. So what could happen is every time you sell back to the pool, a small portion is taken out and it's used to burn USTC. Consequently, with USTC, when you buy and sell USTC, then when you sell or do anything with when you sell the USTC, the same thing happens. A small portion gets used to buy and burn Terra Luna Classic. It can also be used for the community pool, the Oracle pool. It could be used to replenish in many different ways the entire ecosystem if we do this right. But somebody's going to have to step up and come up with a proposal and a plan that would allow for this to happen. I'm not a programmer. As a matter of fact, I'm not even an idea man for that matter. I am just a talking head out here telling you what I think would be just a fantastic addition. And look, I think that it should be aggressive. And let me give you what I mean here. If you trade, let's just say, 10 million lunk, which would be, $570, something like that. $570. If you took that and you took $57 out of that, 10%, and you put a little bit in the community pool, a little bit in the Oracle pool, and then you took half of it, $28, and you burn some USTC. And every transaction does that, right? If you were to do that, then right here, you're sitting on 5.59 billion. If you took it at this point and you said, well, that's, $27, right? So 27 times 0.01178. Of course, I did that in reverse because I'm an idiot. I just stared at it. I knew what I was doing, and I did it anyway because I'm a moron. Anyway, you'd burn 2,292. Now, that's every transaction for 10 million Terra Luna Classic. So let's find out how much are we transacting on chain every day, and let's find out how much that burn could potentially be. And if we attract new people coming back into the ecosystem, then guess what? That number goes even bigger and even higher. So let's see what happens. Also, as far as the rest of this goes, my bag's still down. Again, I did that USTC to Lunk. I flipped the Lunk over to USTC, and then I bought some meme coins. So I'm going to be down just a little bit for a few days. Also, you can buy Believe in Lunk on Fun as well. Don't forget that one. But, nothing overall kind of jumping out at this point. So I think it's the calm before the storm. I think that, I don't think we have a path forward for $1 or even close to $1. I think we are way off at this point, but I reserve the right to change my mind if new evidence shows up that would cause a burn. So now I'd like to challenge all of the community, let's find a burn protocol. Let's find a way to do this back and forth. And if we just focused, this is my opinion, if we just focused on burning Terra Luna Classic and burning USTC for 30 days, if the minds got together and started to work out, how do we do this? How do we, every transaction that's on chain, not off chain, but every transaction that's on chain, when the transaction has completed and the person has sold, 10% of whatever it is that they do, part of it goes back into the Oracle, part of it goes back into the community, part of it goes to replenish or to burn Terra Luna Classic, or USTC, going back and forth. If that were the case, then how much could we burn during that time? And here's the other question: how much would we attract in people willing to flip and burn on chain? And what do we need for that? We need a DEX, and guess what? There's already a DEX. Is it an L2 DEX? Yes, of course, but that doesn't change the fact that it is still a DEX that would allow for a lot of trading and a lot of volume over here to fix the amount of burns that we need on chain for Terra Luna Classic. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget, we're giving away $200 in, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right.